Willkommen zurück bei Lamplight City. Ja, wir sind in unserem Haus, in unserem Apartment und wurden von, ja, ich weiß nicht, Vorgesetzten oder Kollegin oder wie auch immer, auf jeden Fall von Upton eingeladen, in ein Coffeehouse zu kommen, wo wir, oder wo sie mit uns über einen Fall sprechen möchte. Und ja, wer den tragischen Vorfall aus der letzten Folge noch nicht gesehen hat, gerne jetzt hier pausieren und nochmal die vorherige Folge anschauen, weil das ist schon wirklich sehr traurig gewesen. Ich bin wirklich gespannt auf eure Kommentare dazu. Ja, wir gehen jetzt mal raus und gucken mal, was Upton von uns möchte.
Enjoy your reading. I'll be back soon.
Take care of yourself out there.
Quatsch mich nicht voll beim Lesen. So, das ist New Britannia, da sind wir anscheinend, Fordhams Wohnung. Lyon, da hatte der Bill ja auch von gesprochen, aber wir gehen jetzt zum Ruined Coffee House.
Ah, the Ruined Coffee House. Worst Java in Lamplight City, but there's no better place to overhear all the rumors and gossip in town. Just make sure you don't get too close to the other patrons. Discretion was never your forte.
Hier so,
Not much of a hurry to clean up in here, are they?
Schmutziges Geschirr. Gäste?
Best avoid that one. He looks like he might tip over at any moment. Reminds me of when I was alive. Ah, good times. He and his friend are having quite the conversation. I bet it's really boring.
Ah, da ist Constanze Upton.
Judging by the sooty apron, this man is either a metal worker, a chimney sweep, or just really lazy when it comes to washing.
Knackt hier auch ein bisschen.
Asleep at a coffee house. One of life's little ironies.
Das stimmt eigentlich. Wobei, ganz ehrlich, also wenn ich Kaffee trinke, trinke ich das nicht, damit es mich wach macht, sondern einfach, weil ich Kaffee trinken will. Aber naja, gut. Wir sprechen mal mit Frau Upton.
If it isn't my old friend, Upton good.
Hello, Fordham. It's good to see you.
How did you get them to let you in here?
It's rather simple, really. The owner and I have an understanding. He pretends women are allowed in coffee houses, and I don't report his unsavory business practices to Chief Snelling.
Sounds like a good deal. What sort of unsavory business practices are we talking about?
Oh, we haven't got time to get into that now. But take some advice. Don't order anything that isn't water.
I got your message. What's going on?
It's time for you to join the big boys again, Fordham. Your days of finding lost cats are over.
So stop teasing me and tell me what it is already.
Do you know Madame Laura DuPree?
Nein.
Can't say the name rings any bells.
I'm not surprised. She's one of the Gascon Grand Dames. Doesn't
doch,
really
das
run
stand
in
in der
our kind of
Zeitung,
social
glaube ich.
circles.
Ah, right.
Madame DuPree died the day before yesterday. Her funeral was held this morning.
My condolences.
But halfway through the service, the mourners heard a loud knocking coming from inside her coffin.
Was?
She wasn't dead?
Apparently not. Nearly interred alive, although her doctor swears she had no pulse. DuPree's son Andrew was quick to suspect foul play. He accused a man named Albert Martin, and the police arrested him.
So where do I come in? Sounds like the case has already been solved.
I strongly suspect that Martin is innocent, especially considering the talk of him having used black magic on DuPree. The police feel they have enough evidence to convict, so they're not bothering to investigate any further. You're going to look into it and see if I'm right, then find the person who was really behind this.
Achso, damit sie dann befördert wird, oder was?
Has Madame DuPree recovered from her ordeal?
I'm afraid not. Apparently she's been catatonic since they pulled her out of the coffin.
How unfortunate.
If you'd like to question Mr. Martin, he's being held at the Bow Street Jail. Or you could take a look around his house. It's at 451 Compton Street in Worcester.
And the DuPree home?
That's at Emmeline and Comtesse, right across from the old Angeline convent. It's also possible you might run into the police during your investigation, since they're technically still on the case.
Thanks for the warning.
Okay.
Was there anything you wanted to talk about before you get started?
Wir gucken
Yes, actually, I had a couple of questions.
Let's hear them then.
Bildschöne Frau. Mann.
How are things going with you?
Work is hectic as usual, and I'm spending my day off in here. But considering my home life is still a shambles, maybe this is the best place to be.
I'm truly sorry about that.
Don't be ridiculous. If it hadn't been for you, I'd still be chained to that philandering bastard. It hasn't been easy, but I'm much better off this way. Trust me. Anyway, work gives me something to focus on. I'm sure you can relate to that.
Yes, and I'm grateful to you for getting me these case leads. I know you're taking a risk to do it.
It's the least I can do. How about you? How's Adelaide?
She's fine, although things between us could be improved, if I'm being honest. The less said about it right now, the better, I think.
I'm sorry to hear that. You can talk to me about it if you need to, although I'm probably not the best person to ask for relationship advice.
Don't suppose there have been any developments regarding Bill's murder?
Unfortunately not. The department hasn't exactly been focusing on that case as a priority. The general attitude is that it was an accident. Bill died an honorable death in the line of duty.
Would have been nice if they bothered saying that at the funeral.
And of course, there are still those who blame you for his death, Snelling being the first and foremost.
But the man who really caused Bill's death is still out there.
Yes, I know, but it looks like you're on your own if you want to find him. My hands are tied. I can only ask around so much before the higher-ups get suspicious. Just don't give up. New Britannia may be a big city, but the criminal world is surprisingly close-knit. If you find any connections or leads during your other cases, be sure and let me know. I'll do the same if I find anything out.
See, she has her priorities straight. You could learn a lot from Upton.
Okay. Gut, wir
That's
beenden
it,
das
I think.
Gespräch.
Then you'd better get back to it.
Und
Well, I'm not entirely sure how this is going to help you find the flower shop burglar, but I suppose freeing an innocent man is a worthy diversion.
ja, würde ich auch sagen. Wir gehen mal vor die Tür, beziehungsweise dann halt zu den einzelnen Schauplätzen. Ich bin mir noch nicht ganz sicher, was das heißen soll mit dem, man wird auch in die Polizei laufen. Also, ich meine, was das heißt, weiß ich schon, aber nicht, ob ich mich dann raussprechen muss oder so. Ich bin gespannt. Ich würde jetzt nicht direkt in den, wobei eigentlich wäre es ja schon am besten, direkt in den Kerker hier zu gehen. Aber da wird natürlich hundertprozentig die Polizei sein. Na, wir probieren es mal. Wir versuchen mal in den Kerker zu gehen, dass wir mal erstmal mit ihm sprechen können. Genau, wir wollen ihn ja im Gefängnis befragen. Dann müssen wir die anderen auch nochmal befragen. Gut, das haben wir natürlich alles noch nicht. Aber wir gehen erstmal in den Kerker. Gucken, was da, wenn wir überhaupt da reinkommen.
Fordham? Is that you? You look like something a cat spat up.
Hello, Giles. It's lovely to see you too.
What brings you round the jail? I thought you'd quit being a detective.
I'm looking to speak with Mr. Albert Martin.
Oh, I see. Well, that's him in the first cell there. I'd say what needs saying as quick as you can, though. He's headed for the gallows in the morning.
What? Already? But what about a trial?
No trial necessary when there's black magic involved. This little half-breed's already sealed his fate.
Such a charming fellow,
Mann,
isn't
oh
he?
Mann, oh Mann, oh Mann, oh Mann, oh Mann. Ja gut, das ist natürlich, ne, weil schwarze Magie, da kennen die keinen Erbarmen.
I bet that's a direct line to the police department. You should make a rude noise into it when Giles isn't paying attention.
Okay, wir sprechen mal mit dem Martin.
Mr. Martin?
Who are you? My lawyer?
No, I'm actually here to help you. The name's Miles Fordham. I'm a private investigator.
How are you going to help me?
I'm looking into the attack on Madame DuPree. I believe you're innocent.
Oh, thank heaven. That's music to my ears.
Would you mind answering a few questions for me?
Friend, if it means saving me from the noose, I'll tell you nothing less than God's truth.
Interesting choice of phrase for someone accused of using black magic.
What can you tell me about Madame DuPree?
What's to tell? She's a twisted, evil woman who got what was coming to her. Whoever attacked her deserves some sort of reward for the service they're doing the community.
So it wasn't you then?
No, I'm innocent, Mr. Fordham. You have to believe me.
I'm afraid you're not making that very easy right now, Mr. Martin.
Nee,
Do you know anything about the circumstances of Madame DuPree's supposed death?
No, I had nothing to do with it.
Then why did her son accuse you?
Probably because he's just as ignorant as she is.
What I meant was, how did her son know to accuse you? Have you had any contact with the family before?
Yes, you could say that.
Uh-oh. That gleam in his eye says it all.
You see, I'm involved with DuPree's daughter, Juliette Montgomery. DuPree doesn't like that one bit. She even threatened me once.
Is that right?
Yes. She might have everyone else fooled, but that woman is the devil incarnate. I can't understand how something so heartless and cruel could have spawned someone as pure and, loving as my dear Juliette.
He's not really helping his case much, is he?
Ja, nicht so wirklich.
Tell me about Juliette.
She's wonderful. Such a beautiful, kind soul. She hasn't come to see me yet, but I'm sure that's because of all the confusion in the last few days. Juliette wouldn't believe for a second that I would be capable of harming her mother. I'm sure of it.
How did you two get involved?
We met at the university.
Your classmates?
Hardly. They wouldn't allow someone like me to enroll there. Juliette studies botany. I work as an assistant in the greenhouse. We started talking, and she actually treated me like a person. To everyone else, I was just the boy who fetched the test tubes. But Juliette actually wanted to hear what I had to say, had the same taste in books and art, didn't just treat me like some piece of gardening equipment. She even shared some of her notes with me after I told her I was interested in botany as well. From there, things just got better. I don't expect you to understand or approve, but that's how it happened.
Oh, you'd be surprised. It doesn't sound too different to how my wife and I got together. Except I was a detective and she was a singer at a bar.
And she's...
Yes, Mr. Martin. Anyway, back to the matter at hand. How often is Juliette in the greenhouse?
Every weekday, but I doubt she's there now. She's probably trying to find out where I am and working to have me released.
Somehow, I wouldn't bet on that.
Würde ich auch nicht drauf wetten. Also, weiß ich nicht. Die Juliette klingt erstmal natürlich super toll, dass sich da mit ihm unterhalten hat und so, aber ich würde jetzt auch nicht darauf wetten, dass die unbedingt versucht, ihn gerade rauszuholen.
How did you end up in here?
I was just minding my own business at home when the police showed up with no warning. They made some outrageous claims about me putting some sort of curse on Madame DuPree. The next thing I knew, I was here. Oh, Mama must be beside herself with worry. I just hope she's all right.
What does your mother do, Mr. Martin?
She helps people.
I was hoping you'd be just a bit more specific.
She provides spiritual help to those who seek guidance.
She's a spiritualist.
Not quite. She's more like... How can I explain it? You know how a priest holds mass to spread the word of God to the people? My mother holds services and calls on the spirits to walk among us, providing healing and guidance.
So she's a religious leader?
If you want to give her that title, it would be the most appropriate.
And does this religion of yours have a name?
You'd probably know it as voodoo, but it doesn't mean what you think it does. People are so quick to judge and portray us as evil when they have no idea.
Ja, okay, das ist natürlich klar, dass die als schwarze Magie da verhaftet werden. Weil Voodoo ist jetzt, ist natürlich sehr verpönt eigentlich. Zumindest kann ich mir vorstellen in dieser Zeit da. Auch wie er das da beschrieben hat. Kann natürlich ein Hinweis sein.
So you practice voodoo, do you?
Are you making fun of me, Mr. Fordham?
No, of course not. Apologies if it seemed as though I was. It's just that the police are convinced that black magic was involved in Madame DuPree's apparent death.
That's because that idiot son of hers knew about my mother, and like all bigoted fools, assumed that we're involved in devil worship and the black arts. But I can assure you that this is most certainly not the case, Mr. Fordham.
Of course, I didn't mean to imply.
Just forget it.
That's all for now.
Wait, before you go, would you do me a favor? Would you go see my mother at our house and give her a message?
Ja, da wollte ich sowieso noch hin.
You're at 451 Compton Street, right?
Yes, that's right. Could you tell her I said St. Roch's dog is barking.
I suppose I could do that, yes.
Oh, thank you.
Whatever happened to a simple I love you?
Ja, das ist nicht, dass ich die jetzt auch noch verhexe. Nein, Spaß. Okay, Bewohner des DuPree-Haus, klar, müssen wir eh noch befragen. Juliette Montgomery an der Universität. Mit Juliette Montgomery an der Universität rummachen. Keine Ahnung. Albert Martins Mutter eine Nachricht überbringen. Okay. Hinweise, Verdächtige haben wir noch keine. Nachricht von Amten, ist das. Alles klar. Dann gehen wir jetzt mal zu den anderen Schauplätzen. Da ist, genau, das ist die Universität, DuPree. Ich würde sagen, wir gehen dann erst zu seiner Mutter.
Ah, Compton Street. We're not too far from Restaurant Row. When's the last time you ate, anyway?
Please, let's not add eating to the list of things to nag me about.
Okay, 451, da wohnt sie. Gibt's sonst noch
One of
irgendwas?
Atwood's re-election posters, sorely lacking a mustache. Go on, Miles. Fix this grievous injustice.
Not now, Bill. There are more important things to worry about.
Spoil sport.
Metzgerei, okay, Restaurant. Ja, wir gehen mal hier rein.
I'm sorry, I have no time for visitors today.
Yeah.
You're Albert Martin's mother, aren't you?
Who are you?
Miles Fordham. I spoke with Albert, and he told me to give you a message. He said to tell you that St. Roch's dog is barking.
Oh, I see. That's good, that's very good. You better come in, Mr. Fordham. Standing on the street just
ja,
won't do.
okay, alles klar. Okay, wenn du das sagst.
Welcome to my home, Mr. Fordham. I am Sabine Martin. I hope you understand that Albert has nothing to do with this awful business. Would you care for some tea?
Well, her tune certainly changed when you gave her that message. I wonder what it meant.
No, thank you, ma'am. I won't be staying long.
Warum hat die denn das
The
Bild?
Virgin Mary. I must admit, she was the last person I was expecting to see in here.
Hätte ich auch nicht gedacht.
A rather unremarkable book collection, I'm sorry to say. That statue, on the other hand, gives me the willies.
Töpfe, Wandballen, okay. Aber sonst so Statue. Hier ist ein Vorhang. Gucken wir mal, ob wir den Vorhang schon aufmachen können. Ich glaube aber nicht. Ich denke mal, die Sabine will uns auffallen.
I'm afraid that room is private, Mr. Fordham. I must respectfully ask you to not go in there.
Of course. My apologies.
Na gut, dann sprechen wir jetzt mal mit der Sabine.
I've got a few questions for you, Mrs. Martin.
I'll try to answer them the best I can.
Sabine, Sabine, Sabine.
Do you think your son is capable of doing what he stands accused of?
Never. Albert wouldn't harm a fly.
That's what the mothers always say.
Why don't you tell me a bit more about him then?
He started working at the university laboratory a few years ago. I was so proud of him. The university is quite selective, you know. The same for its staff as well as its students.
Yes, I've gotten that impression.
I always told Albert to be careful around those high society types, but that one always thinks with his heart first.
Is she sure that's the correct body part?
He's all the family I have, Mr. Fordham.
Okay.
If you'll indulge my curiosity, what exactly was the meaning of Albert's message?
St. Roch is the patron saint of dogs, as well as the falsely accused. If he sent the message along with you, it means he trusts you, and that I should too.
Oh, I see.
Perhaps you were hoping for something more? That's just the way of mysteries, isn't it?
How do you mean?
The thrill of the unknown is always more exciting than the truth. Mystery makes life a little more interesting.
True, but if mysteries were really better unsolved, I wouldn't have a job.
Gut, das ist richtig, aber klar, das ist ein bisschen mehr Nervenkitzel. Vor allem, wenn man dann sich ganz fragt, was könnte das heißen, was könnte das sein?
Do you know anything about Madame Laura DuPree?
I never met her in person, but I know plenty about her.
Like what?
Nothing fit for polite conversation, Mr. Fordham. But I can tell you this. Laura DuPree has far more enemies than she lets on.
Does that include you or your son?
It most certainly does not.
What do you know about Juliette, Madame DuPree's daughter?
I know Albert was smitten with her, no matter that I told him to be very careful around her kind. Those rich Creole families don't care much for people like us. To them, we're just a help. But from his telling, Juliet sounded to be a decent soul. It's a shame the same can't be said for her kin.
What exactly is it you do, Mrs. Martin?
I provide services to the public.
A delightfully vague answer if there ever was one. Give me something a bit more specific, please.
I'm a mambo asogwe. That means
ja, klar.
I'm what you call a voodoo queen. I'd give you a detailed explanation of the responsibilities and duties of the role, but your time would be better spent clearing my son's name.
Can you tell me a bit more about your religious practices?
What I can tell you is that the ignorant whites in this city are afraid of us for no reason. Voodoo is not about black magic or dark spells or turning people into the living dead. It's about healing and life. Naturally, there are misguided souls who may try to use it for ill purposes, but I am not one of those.
Sounds like you hit a sore spot. Might be a good idea to stop pressing her on this angle.
I think I'll take you up on your offer for tea, after all.
All right, Mr. Fordham. You'll have to give me a few minutes to heat up the kettle. I'll be back shortly.
Bin mal schon mal, was das für ein Tee wird. Kann ich jetzt da rein?
Amazing. Even more voodoo stuff back there. Why would she keep these particular items hidden from view?
Good question.
They obviously have some importance to her. I'd suggest asking, but I don't know if that's the best idea given how sensitive she seems to be about the subject.
Ja, das ist natürlich klar, ne?
The tea should be ready in a few minutes, Mr. Fordham. You can help yourself once it's done.
You're very kind, Mrs. Martin. I've got a few questions.
Können wir sie doch noch fragen? Ah, hier. Wir machen es einfach mal, oder?
About that back room of yours.
I beg your pardon?
I don't know about this, Miles. Is this really a road you want to go down?
Wir versuchen es mal.
I had a look behind your curtain. Care to explain what all those things in that back room are?
Mr. Fordham, I was under the impression you could be trusted. Clearly, Albert was wrong about you.
Why are you keeping them out of view? What's their significance?
I don't like people invading my privacy, Mr. Fordham. You're no longer welcome in my home. Please leave.
But without me, your son won't get out of jail. Nobody else thinks he's innocent. Are you really going to put your pride over your son's life?
And now you insult me? You're really something special. I won't say it again. Get out!
Ja, das haben wir verkackt.
You clearly hit a nerve there, Fordham.
Rather suspicious, if you ask me. Perhaps her and Mr. Martin's religious practices aren't as innocent as they claim to be.
An interesting notion.
Ja, ich meine, warum sollte sie das verstecken? Klar, sie könnte jetzt natürlich sagen, das ist sowas wie mein Arbeitszimmer, das heißt, da hinten gehen wir nur rein, wenn man Voodoo macht oder keine Ahnung. Aber sie reagiert halt so empfindlich darauf, ne? Also ich bin mal sehr gespannt. Gut, wir dürfen wahrscheinlich nicht nochmal rein, zumindest nicht, wenn sie da ist. Aber ja, ich bin gespannt, wie das da weitergeht. Ja, in der nächsten Folge, denke ich, werden wir dann zu einem anderen Schauplatz noch gehen. Ich bin sehr gespannt, wie es hier weitergeht. Und ja, wir sehen uns dann in der nächsten Folge von Lamplight City. Ich bedanke mich recht herzlich fürs Zuschauen. Bis zum nächsten Mal. Auf Wiedersehen.